and welcome to Voices of the Dead podcast. And today we have the pleasure of talking with Zuul. To kick things off, could you share a bit about yourself, your background, and what motivates you to join us on the show today?
Well, I am Zuul Dominatress of Demons is what my name is on Facebook. I'm a character actor model. I do work in the horror industry locally here in Ohio. That's where I'm at. I'm in Northeast Ohio. I like to call it purgatory. That's my realm. Because if you live in Northeast Ohio, you can understand it's not the worst place, but it's also not the best. So
Yep.
purgatory is very fitting. Um,
One
so
place one place I haven't been in Ohio, so
Yeah. Well, there's a great place to visit. I would visit in the fall when we have a lot of Halloween events. It's a very spooky place, especially
okay.
along the coast of Erie. A lot of Halloween events. We have more haunted houses in the state of Ohio than any other state in the United States. So that is
Oh,
the best time of year to come and visit Ohio is during haunted house season, I would say.
well, that's
We
awesome.
have
Now I want to visit Ohio.
Yeah, you could do a tour of all the haunted houses. And you would still never get to all of them. There's over 120 haunted houses in Ohio in the fall. So,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
I love Halloween time. That's my favorite time of the year. So,
And it's beautiful here because it's very woodsy. The leaves change colors. It's really actually quite gorgeous here in the fall. Otherwise, it's Cleveland. The greater Cleveland area is where I live at. So,
oh,
you
okay.
know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
They write songs about the place, and they're not all good songs. So,
So So like I was going on your like page and everything, like what's this like thing you're involved with, the gorgeousgirls.com thing?
yes,
What is that?
Gorgeous Girls is a group of models. We do gore and horror modeling primarily. A lot of us also do acting on the side, so we're in horror movies and the like. And this weekend, we are doing Gore Fest, which is our annual event in Put-in-Bay. So that's going to be really awesome. It's going to be more gorgeous girls, more models than we usually have at any given event. We have over 15 of us are going to be there. And we're doing things like a Halloween party, a costume contest, a burlesque show, and a VIP pirate ship party as well. So lots of really fun stuff to do this weekend at Put in Bay. Celebrate the weather finally getting warm enough to be at Put in Bay.
Oh, that's really cool. Like around here they got like stuff, well not like around where I live, but like a couple hours away, like in Massachusetts. There's like they got a lot of freak shows and stuff like that going on, like with
Oh,
burlesque
neat.
shows. Yeah, and they do like this whole like it's like scary all the time, you know.
I love it. I love it. I have a friend who toured with a like a freak show circus that
Oh
used to
wow.
do that, like a dark circus that used to travel and do that kind of thing. That's a little person, so they have a lot of unique talents that they were traveling with. So
Oh, that's cool. I'm involved with all that stuff, so like I see like the sword swallowers and
I have friends who eat fire and things like that. So it's
oh wow, that's cool.
yeah, I'm on the fringes of that society right there. I have friends who do these things. I'm hula hooping for the burlesque show, but it's
Oh,
not
that's
on fire because it's indoors. I would
oh
love for it to be on fire. I think that would be really fun. But I'm not sure a burlesque performance with a live audience is the first place I should learn to hula hoop fire.
probably not. But yeah,
But it would be
yeah,
fun.
yeah, like a lot of the events I'm at a lot like have all that stuff and like what are your thoughts on like because I got a friend that does like hook suspension.
That is really cool. I one time went to a tattoo convention where they had a suspension show, and we watched these people get the hooks through the skin in places like behind the kneecaps and their elbows and things like that, and it looked horribly painful to do. But the
Yeah,
looks on their faces once they were up there, they get like this look of elation that implies that it takes pain has a certain stimulant property to it. And I
yeah,
think it takes you past the pain and to a level of some sort of high. There's
Yeah.
there's no other explanation for why people would do that if it only caused an unpleasant feeling. So clearly it causes some sort of pleasant, stimulating feeling that you can see on their faces while they're swinging around from meat hooks. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love watching it, but then I'm like, I
I
couldn't do
don't
that though.
Yeah, I don't have the bravery to do that kind of thing. The bravest I've gotten is, like I said, I'm going to do this burlesque show. This will be my first burlesque performance, and it is my quote unquote birthday weekend. My birthday, quote unquote, is Friday. It's actually Zuul's
Oh,
birthday. So the character that I am for most things, Zuul, she's turning over 666 years old, of
oh,
course.
okay. Well, happy birthday.
On
Happy
June 6th.
666th birthday.
Yes, yes. That's where she stopped counting, was 666.
Okay.
She doesn't grow any older than that. A lady doesn't count her age after that. So it'll be fun because we'll be doing that kind of celebration too. That is my stage name that I came across when my real self was working at a Blockbuster Video, um, way back over, because we're talking Blockbuster Video here, so
Yeah.
that clearly
I was,
ages me.
yeah, I was gonna say that's way back.
Oh yeah, that's a throwback right there,
Yeah.
some classic stuff. But I worked at Blockbuster when they closed, and when they were being liquidated, we had these new district managers, and one called one day. And I answered the phone, and she misunderstood my name for Dana. My name is not Dana. So I said, there is no Dana, only Zuul, which, because she manages a Blockbuster franchise, you would think she would
Yeah.
know what that line is from, but she didn't. She thought my name was really Zuul and that she misheard me. She changed the name on my paycheck to Zuul in the computer so that the next paycheck I got was for Zuul and I could not cash it. But it makes for a really funny story. And afterward, I also just changed my name on my name badge because we're closing anyway. We're liquidating. It didn't matter anymore. And I started answering
Yeah.
the phone as, "Thanks for calling Blockbuster. This is Zuul. How can I help you?" And people started to know me as Zuul. It stuck. It's been a nickname for decades now, obviously, because I got it during Blockbuster times. So,
Well,
so
that's an
that's,
awesome nickname to have,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's from Blockbuster time, so
Yes, it has a really interesting story behind it, so of how it came about, and I had an actual paycheck for that name too, so it's real. That makes it real.
well, did you actually take a picture of it at least?
I did. It's, among thousands of pictures from my lifetime. I'm not sure that I could
Wow.
find it in a heartbeat, but I
Yeah.
know that I have it somewhere. It was on film camera. I mean, we are
Yeah.
talking back when we did
Well,
film cameras.
yeah, yeah, I figured it would that's where it would be from.
Right.
The 35 millimeter.
35 millimeter film camera. It's somewhere probably in an album.
So, what else do you want to talk about?
Um, well, what is your podcast generally about in general? Do you guys just talk
Well,
horror movies? Do you talk
um, well,
mysteries?
yeah, we talk horror movies, and I also talk to local bands, and I also talk to people in the freak show industry. So
Cool.
that's
I have
about
done
it.
a couple of music videos with some local bands. There's Two Forks is the name of a local goth band that's trying to get off the ground. They did a song called Pull My Hair, and another song called Fake It, or no, Take It. And I did a music video with several other people, haunt actors primarily, um, with for both of those songs. One of them I got to be a corpse in the trunk of a car. That's really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
We had a good time filming that one. The singer is a shorter man, and he had a hard time finding a model that was small enough that he could carry to put in the trunk of the car.
Oh, wow.
So we used my 18-year-old daughter because she's petite, but she's still taller than him.
Yeah.
So the filming was quite interesting to watch. It was fun to be a part of, to watch him kind of stumble and almost dropped her once or twice. And then we thought about having her carry him. But and yeah, the video's really cool. They're both on YouTube. Really cool videos. One of them involves aliens and all sorts of things. It's a really cool video. And then I did a music video with Cult of Crowley. They're a metal band that's local, that's starting to take off. They're in fact right now, I think, recording their newest album.
Oh, okay.
And on their I don't know if it's going to be on their newest album or if it's already been released, but they have a song called Four of Spades. And it's a really trippy song about kind of like a poker game with God, so to speak.
Yeah.
But um gambling with God. And so it's this really trippy song. It's really good. One of my favorite songs that I actually performed with them for, and the video is really cool. It features my boobs, so my boobs are in it. I do some topless modeling. It's pretty limited, but
Okay.
there are some out there. I have an only Zuul page,
Yeah.
so that's where those things
Like,
go.
I did see you had like a picture something about like a
Yes,
new calendar or something for like
yes,
2020,
yes, for
2025. Yeah.
2025. It is, we are halfway through the 2025 year already, which is so sad. It is flying by.
Right.
Uh, But yeah, the calendars will be available, of course, at the event at Gorefest at Put in Bay. There's only a handful left. Once they're sold out, they're sold out, and they're selling for a discounted price because we're halfway through the year. So they're selling for $15, and I'll be there to autograph them. So if you want to come out to Put in Bay and say hi and meet me, that would be awesome. I mean, I'm really excited to meeting a lot of people that are fans and followers on Facebook. So I'm getting
Yeah.
psyched for that. I love dressing up. So it's going to be really fun because I have like 7 costumes packed for this event.
It- So you do that a lot, like dressing up and going out to like these
Yes.
events and
Yes, I love doing that. It's really fun. I do everything from cosplay to horror and gore, and sometimes just fashion modeling and fantasy. So
yeah.
I'm going to be at the medieval fair in Rock Creek, Ohio this summer. The Renaissance fair that they have there. Uh, I wish I knew the dates for it. I don't know the dates for it yet. I know that it runs through September. Um,
Okay.
but I think it starts sometime in July, and people around here are pretty familiar with it.
Yeah.
It gets a lot of foot traffic because it is a medieval fair. So
So people could probably look it up and find it maybe on
yes,
Facebook.
yeah, I'll probably have it. You can find me on Facebook as well. Zuul Dominatress of Demons, Dominatress ESS. People get that confused for Dominatrix all the time, which is an
Yeah, I had to look.
understandable mistake.
Yeah, I had to look at it a couple times, make sure I was spelling it right.
Yes, and I like to clarify to people because while it does attract the attention that I'm looking for, what I get sometimes in my inbox are requests for things I don't do, and I will have to explain to people that dominatress is a title given to me from the realms of hell of just ruling over purgatory. This section of purgatory. I'm just reigning, that's all, like queen or duchess.
Yeah.
Except dominatress. I don't I don't stand on people or anything like that. But I do have, my spicy OnlyFans, my only Zool 666. So there
Yeah.
are some spicy pictures because those are fun to do, and I believe that your body is a work of art, and that there's a lot of art in semi-nude photography. So I find it I find it entertaining and amusing. Keeps me busy.
Yeah,
Uh,
that,
and it gives
nothing.
me something to create that'll last long after I'm gone. Um, I
Yeah, definitely.
I am an interesting person. I'm one in a million. I am somebody who does not have a pancreas at all.
Oh wow.
I had a rare disorder called idiopathic chronic pancreatitis. They couldn't figure out what it was caused by. That's why it was called idiopathic. But it was constant pancreatitis attacks, which are incredibly painful. And it's like your body is digesting itself from the inside out. It's
Oh,
really bad. So after about 3 years of that and some failed tube feeding therapy, they
hmm,
were putting me in hospice. So having that experience, having faced your own mortality real
yeah.
young, like in your 30s, really changes a person. I think it made me a better person in many ways, but
Okay.
it's a very humbling experience because suddenly it breaks that veil that um, that success is defined by going to work, that success is defined by um, how your kids behave, that success is defined by how many cars you have and what you're driving. It changes all of that and it really does put things into perspective of what really matters. So I think that um, it's a very dark experience, but it's very enlightening. And so having gone through that, ultimately there was a last ditch surgery that they could do. It's called a total pancreatectomy. It was done in Cincinnati. It was like a 13-hour surgery in which they removed the pancreas, a third of your stomach, 16 centimeters of small intestine, your spleen, and your gallbladder if you still have it. So
Oh wow.
they take it all down the hall. They take your pancreas down the hallway. They grind it up in a blender and they pull out individually, one by one, the little cells that make insulin, and then they reinfuse those back into your liver. So altogether, it's a very long surgery, it's a very long recovery. You spend a couple of months on the pancreatic cancer ward in recovery in the ICU and whatnot. You are automatically made a brittle diabetic.
Oh wow.
Some people recover fully and they just have, you know, diabetes. Some people don't recover from that and they ultimately still lose their lives, about one third of people. And then there's the third that's kind of like me that recovers but with some struggles. So I am disabled. That does
Yeah.
enable me to be available to do other things with my life in
Yeah.
a positive way, but it did take away my nursing career um, that I had worked hard for in my life. And it just massively changed things. But I got another chance, and I have actually that surgery was 10 years ago. So I gained another 10 years of life out of it so far, which is awesome.
Right, that's awesome. That's
I,
definitely
I,
awesome.
I don't expect to grow old, but I am going to live every day to its maximum potential. Some days don't look so maximum. Some days are lying around on the couch and recovering from the previous day.
Yeah.
but,
Oh,
but
believe me, I know how that is. And
yeah.
no,
Age catches up to us all eventually. Some of us, it catches up to us sooner than later, but it's a privilege to age, and I'm going to enjoy the ride. So that's kind of one interesting factoid about me. I think it just changes my perspective on life and what is important and what is beautiful. Um, and I'm
yeah.
very much so a talker. So podcasts are a great opportunity for me to babble about things like that.
Oh, definitely. I'm glad I had you on. Seems like we have a lot in common with that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I went through the same type of thing, and so now I deal with a lot of, I'm disabled, and so I deal with a lot of things every day and struggles, and so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. It's a different place to be in life than you planned on being. Sometimes what life had in mind for you is you want to go the cheesy route and say it's better than what you
Yeah,
had in mind, but it's not always. It's
Yeah.
not always that rosy picture of, well, it's better than what I had in mind. Yeah, well, yeah, except for the poverty part and
Yeah.
the and the health struggles part. I still spend sometimes I still get hospitalized from time to time and have to spend several days in a hospital. It's just not as frequent as it was, and I'm not in the pain that I was, and I'm grateful for that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not ungrateful by
Yeah.
any means, but it's certainly not just the rosy image of I'm free. You're never really free in your human form. I think we all struggle with something,
Oh yeah,
you know.
definitely.
That's why I think that being human is relative to being in purgatory. And that is
Hmm.
why that's my whole shtick for Soul is I'm here to I like to say I'm here to disturb the comfortable and
Yep.
comfort the disturbed. Yes. Because we are all here struggling with something.
Oh yeah.
So if you're struggling with something, I'm here to amuse you, keep you entertained, keep you from taking the long walk off the short pier. Sticking around for the ride because there's bound to be something around the corner that makes it worth being here.
Oh,
Um, and if you're, you know, doing really, really well and full of yourself, I'm here to humble you.
yeah.
To remind you that sometimes life sucks.
Yeah.
And even your life could suck.
Yeah, definitely. What's the biggest lesson you think you've learned?
mm, I have learned that not everybody sees life the same way I do. And I think that's a hard lesson because we all are idealistic in thinking that our perspective makes sense. And so it should be applicable to all.
Yeah.
And I think we run into trouble with that mentality because we expect others to behave the way that we would behave if we were put in the same situation. And to us, that is common sense. But it isn't so common. It is different among other people depending on their input. What has led them to the same page of the book that you're on, but is leading them to see a different story?
Hmm.
What were the previous pages for them? It's probably not the same as yours. And it's challenging because no matter how much you learn, the more you know, you'll never know enough to make life any easier. In fact, the more you know, sometimes the harder life is. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah,
It
I
really
agree.
is. Because
Yeah.
sometimes the more you know, the harder life is because it doesn't change life. It
Well,
doesn't change how things work. It just changes your perspective on it. And sometimes it makes it even harder to see hope and the good things because
yeah.
it's so clouded by this awful feeling that you're surrounded by idiots. So to speak,
Yeah.
to wrap
Right.
that up in a burrito shell and make it short. Um, yeah, the more you know, the more it feels like the people around you don't,
Hmm.
and it's hard. It's hard to find intelligent people to have conversations with like this. So that's why I love doing podcasts. They're usually people who have something to say, who have
Oh yeah.
something interesting to put out there in the world, and so they do podcasts, and they're usually deep divers, people who want to talk about things beyond the surface.
Yep. Pretty much me. I'm trying to like something to do, with myself.
Yeah,
Something to look forward to every week. But
to kill time and save brain cells.
oh yeah, I want to
Because
ask you like, doesn't mean that you had a failure ever, but what is your biggest failure if you did, and how did you learn from it?
um
You don't have to
I would
answer if you don't want to either. So
no. I
okay.
would say my biggest failure is oftentimes my temper in general. My temper has failed me on many occasions in life where I look back and anything that I can think of as a failure is usually generated from the extent of my temper. It's gotten better over the years, but throughout life, when I am pushed beyond my limitations to what I can control my temper with, I will lose my temper and I say stupid shit, do stupid shit, and I'm sure we all do to some degree.
Oh yeah.
But mine has gotten out of hand to things like throwing a chair through a door type of stuff.
Yeah.
That's an unnecessary level of temper.
Just a little bit.
So, and like I said, it has gotten better over the years. I'm well beyond throwing chairs through doors at this point, but it's still not where I'd like it to be. I still say stupid shit,
Yeah.
or I ruminate on a problem and
Yeah.
will
I think we all do that,
sulk,
really.
and I can't just inwardly cope. I have to outwardly pout at people. Um, and it never really goes well when that happens. That never really does anything beneficial for me. Nobody wants to hear somebody pout.
Yeah, true.
but but we all do it. Um, and sometimes we just need you need your own tribe to get through that, to have your place to go and your people to go to that won't judge you or get bored with you if you're sulking for a week.
Yep, right.
And then move on. The important part is the picking up, moving on. But that temper in the meantime, yeah, that's my biggest downfall is my temper. She gets a grip on me and then she's in control for a little while.
Yeah.
Don't like that, but it is what it is.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up today. But is there anything else you would like people to know about, or before we wrap it up?
Um, no, I would plug the Gorgeous Girls magazine as well.
Okay.
They have, not only are they doing the Gore Fest event this weekend, but if you can't make it out there, do check out their Gorgeous Girls magazine on MagCloud.
Yeah.
Um, there are a ton of talented, amazing girls in there that
So
like
it's
me.
okay. Is it okay if I tag them and all that stuff? Because
Absolutely. I'm sure they would
okay,
love that. They love,
yeah,
promoting. So,
I'll tag them. I'm gonna tag you, and whoever's involved and all that stuff.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm doing right now. I just recently retired from haunting for the time being because I want to take a fall to go do all the other cool stuff that's happening in Ohio in the fall. So,
Oh,
um,
okay.
keep your eye on my page, see what I'm going to be up to because I don't even know yet.
All
Oh,
right.
and Meet the Movie is my very first movie role that comes out next week at Capitol Theater in Cleveland. Um,
Wow.
it is Meet the Movie, and it is um, a gay slasher flick, which is freaking awesome for Pride
Good.
Month. It is going to be a really dope movie. They are selling out quick though, so you want to get your tickets soon from Capitol Theater in Cleveland. It's going to be next Thursday at 7 p.m. Is Meet the Movie, and I get
Hmm.
soaked in blood. It's going to be awesome.
I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, it's gonna be an awesome movie. I'm really looking forward to being there. That's the premiere for the movie, and I'm gonna be there. So, um,
Well, that's
and
awesome. Well, everybody
so
should be there then.
doing lots of cool stuff like that. So keep your eye on my page because I'm always doing something fun.
All right. If you want to plug your page again?
It's Zuul Dominatress O'Demons on Facebook, and that's primarily the one that I use. I'm not much of an Instagrammer or I do have TikTok, so you can check me out on TikTok. I have a lot of really fun TikToks, but I don't do much on Instagram and I don't do tweets. I talk too much for tweets.
Yeah.
So, too short of a format for me. But yeah, yeah, check me out. I'll keep you amused and
All right.
entertained, and thank you
All right.
so
Well,
much for having me on your podcast.
oh,
It's been
and thank you for
awesome.
and thank you for coming on. You're actually going to be the first episode, so
Cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're
Woohoo! What
welcome.
fun. Awesome. Okay, guys,
All right.
you got to keep
Okay.
listening because he's going to have some other cool guests too.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. All right.
Absolutely.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.